Morning and greetings to each one of you. Um, I know you've been praying for me for my health, and I just want to say thank you so much for that. I've been praying for you as well, for you and your families. And I thank you so much for supporting us in this ministry, supporting us in our missions, and all that you do. I'm just so grateful to you. Um, these past few weeks or even month, I've been so un-Samuel with God. Let me explain what I mean by un-Samuel. If you go to First Samuel in chapter 2, when Hannah goes to leave Samuel at the temple, and Samuel, it says, did not know God. And while he was sleeping one day, and God calls him, and and so he thinks it's Eli, and he runs to Eli. But then Eli realizes, the priest Eli realizes that God has been speaking to him, and so he says to Samuel, Samuel, next time when you hear that voice, say to that voice, um, God speak, for your servant is listening. And when I said un-Samuel of me, it's because these past few weeks and months, I've been telling God, um, listen, God, for your servant is speaking. And so I've been so un-Samuel of me. And again, I've been telling God all that I've been going through. And then I've been asking God to fulfill the needs in my life. And and so that's okay if you are maybe in this time of crisis, we are in that mode of telling and asking God. But I think prayer is more than that. Prayer is sometimes sitting down and listening to God and what God has to say to you and me. And I believe God has a lot to say, especially during these crisis moment. There's so many things that break God's heart, and God wants to share that with you and me. And God wants to say what is in our heart. And sometimes we don't have the time. Or sometimes we are so overwhelmed with the needs of our lives and our own communities that we don't have time to listen to God. And so um, this morning, even when I sat down to, God was reminding me of my need to just sit in His presence and listen to what God has to say. And so I'm grateful to God. And so I hope you will take some time to listen to what God has to say, because I believe God has a lot to say to us at this moment in time. Two things I wanted to tell about what's happening this week, and I just want to invite you. And number one, on August 1st, that's this coming Saturday, and it's the 1st of August, and we have an online worship at 6 a.m. And I know Saturday morning is a sleepy time for you. You wanted to snuggle in and sleep a little longer. But the service is short. It's only like a half hour. You can join us. By 6:30, I'm done. Then you can go back to sleep. It'll be a great time if you decide to spend that time with God in God's presence as we begin this new month. And on Sunday, August 2nd, it's a communion Sunday. But more importantly, beginning this Sunday, I wanted to start a new series on the book of Ecclesiastes. It's a hard book to preach. I'm going to make every effort to make that book come relevant to the context that we are in. And I think it's a great book at this moment in time. And so, if you are somebody who wants to journey with me for this Sunday, read chapters 1 and 2. And then I'll put the sermon together, and I hope it'll be helpful for all of us as we journey this time together. So, thank you again for joining us, and I hope you'll take the time to pray and listen to what God has to say. Bye for now.